Greetings and salutations. Morgan here with Seahawks Palaver. What we're going to talk about today is our options at quarterback going forward into the 2023 season, now that Russ has been run out of town on a rail. We will look at what Pete Carroll and company can do to put someone more amenable to their style of offense under center. Well, of course, let's start out with who they got back in the trade from Russ from the Broncos, which is Drew Lock. He has had, an up and down career so far after being taken in the second round and losing his starting job to Teddy Bridgewater last year. He has a lot of things going for him, right? Moab arm is what I have noted here. Mother of all bombs. He has a fantastically strong arm, an excellent mobility to extend plays. You can see him dancing around behind the line of scrimmage, really using some movement behind the line to extend plays, much like Russ did. Maybe not as good running forward, but still pretty good. He can run for first down without any issues if he has to. I think that part of his game is kind of underrated and not talked about enough, but he does move around behind the line of scrimmage really well to open up passing lanes, look downfield. That part's great. And when he's not harassed, he can move the chains. He can find his checkdowns pretty well. Just when he's pressured, though, things fall apart. Does not seem to handle pressure very well at all. That's when he starts making really bad decisions, right? But when things are rolling, he's having a good time. You see him Fortnite dancing after throwing a touchdown. I appreciate stuff like that. But I think that all that confidence that he exudes, a lot of people saying, this guy's a real gunslinger or whatever. I think it's more bravado than it is confidence. I think he's trying to psych himself up because his results on the field don't necessarily match the swagger he brings to the field. So that's just my opinion there, but I think that that's something that needs to be fine-tuned a little bit. Trust his arm more than his eyes. He does make some really bad throws, some really poor interceptions. Where why is he doing that? It's because he thinks he can thread needles that just aren't there. And he doesn't see underhand defenders. He is really bad with trying to hit a guy behind a defender standing right in front of him, thinking that he can either whip it by him or whip it over his head or whatever, and either he doesn't see the guy standing there or he thinks he can beat him. In either way, results can be disastrous. And I also have noted here that he needs to work on his plan B and a game plan for it, and that's what I think that our offense that he's coming into will really help. Russ tended to ignore his hot routes sometimes or not think he had time to get to them, but when he has a check down and a hot route available to them, he usually finds it. And I think that Waldron really schemes that when he designs a game plan. So I think that Drew Lock may find some success there. And where I say that he needs his confidence rebuilt, I think that that's going to help. Right? I think that the way that we preach ball control and not turning the ball over will really help in that. I think he'll be happier in an offense where he doesn't think that he has to play hero ball all the time and just go ahead, check down at his next receiver and just keep the chains moving. That's exactly what Pete wants, and I think that he can deliver at least that. And then he also has the penchant for the downfield play later on. He just needs to work on his his defensive reading a bit and not trying to, if it's not there, don't try to throw it. Russ was really good at that. He really wouldn't throw to a receiver unless he kind of knew they had separation. Drew doesn't like that. Isn't like that. If there's four guys converging on there, he thinks maybe if I just throw it just right, I can get it in between all four guys, all 8 arms that are trying to vie for that football. Maybe I can get it to the 2 that I'm aiming for, and it just doesn't always work. So he's a good player. I'm interested to see the battle in camp that he has with Geno Smith. I'm not a huge Geno Smith fan. I think he's been hugely inconsistent in his entire career from game to game, but Pete loves the guy. He did. He's familiar with the offense, like I said. He has the trust of Pete. Pete thinks that he can really go in there. He thinks he feels that despite not being, I don't think he's as talented as Drew Lock, he might be a better quarterback right now. I think that's just what Pete Carroll wants, and he definitely trusts him to execute the offense in the way that he wants. Right? He did relieve Russ in 4 games last year. acquitted himself okay. Only won one of those games, but it was against the Jaguars. And lost the other two games. I mean, maybe the interception where Tyler Lockett fell down, maybe that wasn't his fault. Our inability of our offensive line to triple block TJ Watt and still fail, leading to his fumble, probably not his fault either. But I mean, these things kind of happen to Geno Smith, right? He's got a very star-crossed career so far, despite having all the requisite tools. He has the height, and he has the arm, he has the mobility. He put it all together. But for some reason, it just doesn't work out for him. And I don't know if it's in his head or if it's just kind of like Tyrod Taylor, where just nothing works out for the poor guy, right? Like last year, he was all set to start and gets his lung punctured before a game, getting a shot administered. Star-crossed career. If you look at 2013, his rookie year, he played okay, right? And then 2014, he was very inconsistent throughout the year, but he improved in like every category except for yardage because he didn't play as many games. But he improved game to game. In fact, his last game in 2014 was a perfect game. He went against Miami. He went 25, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 358 yards, a perfect quarterback rating. So you think that there's going to be great things in store for him. Well, 2015 rolls around. They're in training camp, and he had promised one of the defensive ends on the team, IK Enampali, that he would coach at his football camp that he was running back in Texas. So Enampali paid for his airfare, hotel, limousine, to get to the camp, and Geno Smith just didn't show up. He just didn't show up. Some say that his brother got in a bike accident. Some say that one of his brother's friends got hurt, and Geno Smith couldn't go, but he never told anyone about it. Meanwhile, Enampali had marketed the entire camp around Geno Smith being there. The T-shirts, flyers, everything. Geno Smith's going to come coach your kids. Came from all over Texas to attend this camp that Geno Smith just kind of blew off, right? So Enampali was mad about that. He came from this strict, Nigerian immigrant background where his parents are yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, please, thank you, hit the books, go to church, eat dinner with your family. Very rigid, respectful upbringing, and he just felt that Geno Smith was disrespecting him. And then every time he asked, look, at least reimburse half of it, right? It was $1,200, and Geno Smith said that he'd pay him back $600. He wouldn't do it. He kept saying, I'll get you. Kept blowing him off. And Paulie is, 6'1", 260 pounds. He's no slouch. And finally, he just snapped. Geno Smith stuck his finger in his face and said, what are you going to do if I don't pay you? You're not going to do nothing. And that's when Enampali clocked him across the face and broke his jaw. And Geno was out 6 weeks. So your promising quarterback coming off a perfect game is now sidelined for Ryan Fitzpatrick. And, of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick has a way to, Fitzmagic or Fitztragic his way through things. And so Geno Smith only ended up playing in, I think, one game in 2015. And he'd never got his career back on track since then. I don't know if it's karma or what have you, but things have not gone well for Geno Smith. Maybe he has a career renaissance in Seattle. Like he does, like I have here, you can't really see it because I block my face with it, but he could be at the point in his career where it's all going to come together now. Maybe both him and Tyrod Taylor in New York can have a career renaissance at the same time. I don't know, but things have just not gone well for him at this point, and he has the talent to be good, but inconsistent. I don't know if it's in his head. I don't know where it is. I don't know where the disconnect is, but this could be the year he puts it together. Who knows, right? We'll see what happens in training camp, but yeah, he may benefit from a consistent philosophy too, like a lot of quarterbacks do. Once they get in a rhythm and know what to expect from year to year, game to game, whatever. We have a very solid coaching staff here, so maybe it's time for Geno. Well, who knows? I just don't think so. He hasn't shown it so far. He's been very inconsistent, but we'll see what happens. Also on the roster is Jacob Eason. I liked Jacob Eason a lot. His that 1 year at the University of Washington where he played, legit howitzer on his shoulder, a very strong arm, tool size potential is definitely all there, but he has no touch whatsoever throwing the ball. He's hardly played any. He's played, I think, 29 games total his entire career, broken up over years too, right? Because he transferred from Georgia. He lost a year because it was pre-transfer portal days. And then when he got to Washington, it was his junior year. He only played that 1 year and then declared for the draft. So he hasn't played a whole lot. So he's just a ball of clay with a cannon arm and not really any notion on how to direct it. So like I said, we'll take a while to percolate. He can work inside a pocket, but he's not a runner. He just isn't. So I think it'll take a while for him to put anything together if he ever does. Right? I mean, we'll just see. I've always admired his arm, but he's got a ways to go, I think. Now picked up from as an UDFA, undrafted free agent from Louisiana Lafayette. He's a Ragin Cajun, a team near and dear to my heart. They picked him up as an UDFA. Evasive with impressive lateral agility. He's not really a forward runner, but he can work that pocket really well. Handles pressure excellently. He can find his hot route really fast. Really impressive reading ability. He can read a defense very well for his level. Now, granted, it's a bit of a lower level of competition, but he acquitted himself very well. Kyler Murray-esque stature. He's a smaller guy. He's like me, running around out there, only 20 years younger and with muscles. But against top teams, like when he played a lot of ranked teams, he didn't really show up well, but that was betrayed by drops. He did, during big games, his receivers kind of let him down a little bit, I think, so we didn't really get to see his how he could perform against a higher level competition. So we'll see how it shakes out at camp. I know the coaching staff is very high on Levi Williams, so it remains to be seen. I've only watched a couple games on him, and I can get a feel for his game, but he didn't play well against top competition. So we'll see how he adjusts to NFL speed. Another guy they signed. This is a camp invite. They didn't really sign him to an undrafted free agent contract, but they were going to let him throw around rookie camp. Caleb Ellaby. I liked this guy a lot during the whole draft process. I think he's better than Levi Williams. I mean, his body of work, I think, is more impressive. Capable pocket movement. He's not the runner that Levi Williams is. I think Levi Williams is more escapable, but he can do it, and he can step up in the pocket, when pressures come in, and with a very excellent, accurate arm. And unlike Levi Williams, I think he played better when he played ranked teams. I just felt that he kind of rose his play to the level of competition a bit more than Levi Williams did. Again, I don't know what you can really take away from that. Maybe that's just luck. Who knows? But he did play pretty well. Not a natural dual threat. He's not really a runner. He can navigate the pocket. That's about it. And his play can be erratic as well. There'll be times when he can't, complete a pass to save his life. Then other times he'll get on a real roll, and he'll play very well. He's streaky quarterback. It seems like the offense they played at Western Michigan, and that's where they got Eskridge from last year. He's shown the ability to execute run after catch plays, slants, crosses, both at short and intermediate level. He ate those passes up, and I think those are going to be a big part of our offense coming up. So I think that he's kind of built really well for that, and I think that we might see that at rookie camp. Maybe he'll make an impression and get signed to has more competition during regular training camp. Who knows? That remains to be seen. So that goes for the people that are on the roster right now. Are there other possibilities? There are. There are these guys. Gardner. Oh, I can't minimize my thing. Oh well. I can't shrink me. There's such a good picture of Gardner Minshew. Anyway, these guys are out there available for trade. Baker might get cut at some point. These are proven veterans that have had success and could contribute right away. I don't know if Baker Mayfield. It really seems that the Seahawks want nothing to do with him. They had expressed no interest. It seems. Carolina made some progress on draft day trying to get him, but the Browns are adamant that they're not going to pay the $18 million that he's owed this year. So I thought the Seahawks might have a chance to trade for him, have Cleveland eat some of the money. They don't want to do it. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I don't even know if he's the type of player that they want. I think they're kind of tired of how much mouth Baker Mayfield might have. And maybe they're just sick of that. I know Pete Carroll's always been really tolerant of people being themselves, but maybe it's too much. Maybe Baker Mayfield's too much for this coaching staff. Who knows? I like him. I think he's a great player. I think that last year he gutted it out on a shoulder that was absolutely wrecked. I think he's a much better player than he was last year. I think he adds a lot of value, but is he worth the hassle? I think it's unfair. I think he's been dealt a bad hand by Cleveland. I think he's a good player, and I like what he brings. I always like players with attitude. I do. Like even Christian Ponder, if you remember that guy, he was my favorite quarterback in that draft because he was just so confident. You know what I mean? And so sure of himself. Baker Mayfield reminds me a lot of that, and I like that swagger, and you can back it up. And he's shown he can do that. He's won a playoff game for the Browns, for God's sakes. So I'm a fan, but I just don't see him coming to Seattle. And then Gardner Minshew, local guy, everyone loves him. I don't know how much he would cost in trade. And I wrote Chronic Fumbler on there because it just reminds me of Dave Craig, right? Good old Mudbone, just fumbled all the time, but everyone loved him in Seattle, right? And Gardner Minshew is a fun guy. Who wouldn't want like a 70s era Burt Reynolds character, Smokey and the Bandit, on their team. But he has a lot of the bad habits that people criticize Russell Wilson for. He has, and doesn't necessarily have the magic to overcome them that Russ did. He can be super erratic. He can panic behind the line of scrimmage. He can hesitate to throw to open receivers and then bail on the play and sack himself. He does that a lot, right? He's successful too, right? But he will check down, and ignoring longer passes. He plays it safe, and maybe that's something that Pete Carroll likes. He loves the a little bit of conservative play a little bit, but he also likes hitting those deep shots downfield. And Minshew does not have Russ's arm. Doesn't necessarily have the downfield accuracy, but he's a little shy. He's a little gun shy. He's like the opposite of Drew Lock in that ways. He will definitely prefer his check down to throwing into coverage, or will prefer a check down to throwing to an open receiver, right? Like a lot of people criticize Malik Willis for. He has a lot of that in his game still. Fun guy. He's fun to watch. He always, it's always a party in the pocket when Gardner Minshew's playing. But I think people are overlooking a lot of his flaws, to be honest. And maybe we can iron those out. He's still a young player, young guy. I wouldn't mind if we traded for Gardner Minshew through a 6-rounder, conditional 5th maybe, on him starting to the Eagles if they want to part with him. We'll see. I don't know. The Eagles have a pretty good QB room right now. Maybe they don't. Maybe they'll think that Gardner Minshew is superfluous to their needs. I don't know. But people who are Gardner Minshew fans, I think they kind of ignore a lot of his flaws, or maybe they think his flaws are easily dealt with. Regardless, he's a fun player. I wouldn't mind them taking a shot on him, but bear in mind that he does have a lot of the stuff that people criticize Russell Wilson for. He does just as often, right? He just does. He's a gun shy passer that will sack himself and pass up easy passes and then run out of time. His time to throw is one of the longest in the league. So maybe with our new offensive line, that'll help. And there's a lot of factors in play here. I'm trying to talk myself into it, as you can see, but I'm excited. I'm excited for this season. I can't wait to training camp and see how the quarterbacks play. I'm stoked, man. It'd be quite the story if Geno Smith came out of the ashes like a phoenix and was able to play again. He's due. Maybe he's due. He was awesome at West Virginia, right? Really good college career. But, getting his jaw broken, and it really was his own fault. He really set him back, and now maybe he's paid that price. And he's ready to step forward. Maybe Drew Lock stops throwing into quadruple coverage downfield, thinking that he can, outmuscle anybody. Maybe that happens. I don't know. We will find out, and I'm excited to see it. And I will talk to you guys through it as much as we can. If you liked this video, please throw me a like. I would appreciate it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Comment down below if you have anything to say or any other ideas. Daniel Jones is also a free agent next year. Maybe we can resurrect his career next year. I don't know, right? But as we go along this process, I'll look through some of the people coming in the draft next year. A lot of people were thinking that that's what we've been doing, trying to position ourselves for next year. We have the draft capital to do so. We have 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders next year. we can move around as we see fit if our grand experiment here at quarterback does not pan out, and we do poorly. We'll position ourselves well. But even if we do mediocrely, right, and we have a pick in the teens, with our ammo, we can probably move up and get a guy that we really want. So there's also that possibility. All right, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, all those things that the algorithm loves to do, I'd like to see. Guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.